One of the Orioles' top pitching prospects goes down for Tommy John. Ramon Urias gets dealt to the Astros for a young pitcher to help ease the blow of losing Braxton Bragg. Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman, and the headline is, first of all, good morning. It's early. This is going to be a busy trade deadline. The headline is Ramon Urias has been traded in a surprise move to the Astros for a minor league pitcher. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into why I believe the Orioles got robbed here, and if they're really playing to win for 2026 like they claim they are, then this move really doesn't make much sense unless there's much more to come today. We're going to get to the Orioles' top prospect, pitching prospect, Braxton Bragg, who goes down and has Tommy John surgery. He's not going to be back for, 18 months, let's say. And so we're going to get to all of it here on Orioles Digest. Please like, subscribe, do all the things, because it is going to be, as we now know, a very, very busy trade deadline. And I want to start with Ramon Urias. Look, this guy is a fan favorite. This guy is a Gold Glover. This guy is a top utility man, in my opinion, certainly in the American League. Well, the Astros lost their all-star third baseman, Isaac Paredes, and now they have Ramon Urias to step in. This was certainly a surprise because the Birds have or had Urias under control through 2026. So you would think they would have kept him around. I imagine that the thinking is there wasn't really room for regular playing time for Urias, Kobe Mayo, and Ryan Mountcastle, so you have to believe that Mayo stands to benefit here and that the Orioles are going to, truly invest in playing time for Mayo. It probably also means that Mountcastle isn't going anywhere. He is about to finish his rehab stint. He's looked pretty good in the minors, but again, Ramon Urias, no longer an Oriole. You look at his numbers this year, and it's not really the offense that, that's as important with Ramon, but still solid. 8 homers, 34 runs batted in. He had the 64 hits. He was just a great guy to have in the clubhouse. And this is a guy, I should point out, who has turned more double plays this year than any other American League third baseman. That's why you have him in there. That's why the Astros picked up Ramon Urias. And, that's why he is going to be so missed for the Birds. The strategy so far, when you look at Brian Baker being dealt, when you look at Soto being dealt, when you look at Urias being dealt, is to build up our young pitching core. And look, we do need it. We need it now more than ever, and I'm going to get into a major setback for the Birds farm system in a moment. But this is the man you're looking at that the Orioles received in the Urias trade, Twine Palmer. He's a 20-year-old. He was drafted. Well, let's take a look at everything. He was drafted by the Astros in the 19th round out of Connors State. He's 6'5". He's been in low A. Looked good in low A. Interestingly, he's not ranked inside the Astros' top 30 prospects by Baseball America or MLB Pipeline. He's at number 37 on Houston's farm, according to FanGraphs. So this is not, of course, the return like the Orioles got for Brian Baker or even for Sir Anthony or Greg Soto. So certainly unclear the motivation behind this move exactly, except for the fact that the Orioles badly need some more young pitching, and they must see something in Palmer, that we haven't seen yet. And the reason why the Orioles now more than ever have a need for pitching is that this man, a top pitcher for the Birds down on the farm, Braxton Bragg, well, he has just had Tommy John surgery. Braxton Bragg was absolutely killing it. 24. He had a 0 ERA for 3 starts for Aberdeen, and then a 2.32 in 9 in Double A, 9 games, 8 starts. This guy was being primed for the major leagues sooner rather than later, and now he's going to be out certainly all of 2026, and hopefully he comes back healthy the year after that. So the offseason strategy for the Birds so far with their deals is very clear, which is to bulk up the pitching, because this is the list, and thank you, Rock Kubako from Masson. This is the list of notable Birds who've either missed multiple months due to injury or had Tommy John this year. And it's a who's who, right? Grayson, we still don't know what's going to be. Kyle Bradish working his way back. Zach is here for now, back with the O's, but could be gone by the end of the day. Trevor Rogers has looked great. Tyler Wells actually is down at Double A, and I should tell you he had his first rehab start and looked really good down at Double A. Kittredge, Suarez, Chase McDermott, Patrick Riley, and now Braxton Bragg. So the Orioles have had, no shortage of arm injuries, that have really hampered their year, thus far. And so the strategy to pick up young arms is certainly a valuable one, and certainly one that makes sense, but at what cost? At what cost? And was it worth it to get rid of Ramon Urias? Clearly the Astros really wanted him. Could the Orioles have gotten a little bit more of a return? Who knows? We're not in the room, but it certainly appears at least that the Astros did very, very well in this, in this scenario. Now, speaking of young pitchers that the Orioles have acquired, we should point out, and that's Braxton Bragg. We should point out that Wellington Aracena, who the Birds got in the Soto deal with the Mets, he debuted last night with Low A Delmarva and looked terrific. 4 2/3, 1 hit, no runs, 6 Ks, and he was throwing up to 97. So that's certainly the type of arm that you like to see, and that seems to be a good acquisition for a guy who was on an expiring contract. So it's interesting. It's interesting to note Ramon Urias under team control through next year has now been dealt. I'll certainly miss him. I think he was great in the clubhouse. I think a lot of Birds fans liked him. So hang on. I think today's going to be a wild ride. There's all sorts of speculation out there that the Mets want Laureano and Ced. And then, of course, you have Ryan O'Hearn being talked about all around the league. And that's just kind of, of course, you have Sagano being talked about and Zach Eflin. So stay tuned. I'm Jon Leiberman. This is Orioles Digest. Good day to you.